All right. Hello, hello. We are back.
Hello, everybody.
The Pikmin crew's back for round two. All right.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm PiePusher11, and I'll be playing this time. So last round we saw Jay do any percent run of Pikmin 3, and
Hello.
there is, another side to Pikmin speedrunning, which is the challenge runs, and that's kind of more of what I'm interested in. And lately I've been doing this challenge run low in-game time. And so basically the way the in-game timer works in Pikmin 2 is, it starts when you press A on file select here, and if you're doing like a full speed run, it will, it'll actually be really accurate to real time. So like if your speed run gets a 140.01, the in-game timer will tell you 140. If you get a 139.59, it'll tell you 139. There is one little quirk which we can really use to our advantage in low IGT though, and that is every time you save and reset the game only remembers how many full minutes passed. So if your segment takes a minute and a half, it'll only remember that as 1 minute. And with that out of the way, we do have a bit of an intro cutscene where we can talk some more, so let's go ahead and get this started. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes.
So as you can see, I do have two timers going on. The top timer there is how long the overall showcase is going to take, and the bottom timer is a representation of my IGT. So I'm going to be starting that every time I start a segment. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so you're gonna start and stop. So as Pi kind of implied earlier, it only remembers the last minute, and so as a consequence, of course, that means if you do something, if you can do a segment and save and quit in less than a minute,
You've essentially
then
made progress in the game in 0 time. Yes.
right.
So here, this
So
is day 1. Cap, do you want to explain what we're doing on day 1?
sure. So in Pikmin 2, you have something called the Day One Extinction, which is how you can basically skip through this very multi-minute tutorial, and you get to do it in slightly under a minute here. So what Pi is doing is slightly under 2 minutes. Is that you can grab a Pikmin, and you by angling it in a very specific way, you actually can throw it out of bounds. And normally you can't kill Pikmin in day one, but by being able to throw it out of bounds, you basically force the game to end the day through an extinction. And so this actually basically keeps you from doing this multi-minute tutorial, and kind of lets you take the rest of the tutorial day by day. So as you see, the moment that he hits saves, the in-game timer stops, and it's reset. And if you can look and you can see, it basically only a minute has passed,
So as you
right?
can
Even though
see,
it's
once we go
1:28.
back to our file select, we can show that my playtime down in the bottom corner shows 1 minute, even though I took 128.
Right.
So that's basically the idea of low IGT. So now that we've done day 1, we start day 2 with like 1 Pikmin. And basically what you have to do is grow 2 Pikmin, end the day, grow 2 Pikmin, end the day. And I don't want to do all that right now. So I've prepared, I think, 9 segments that I think are going to be really interesting to show off. So I'm going to be sort of skipping around in the game a lot. And
Yeah. To be clear, just to reiterate, like low in-game time as like a challenge run is something that is nominally conducted by an individual over many days. Completing the entire game in as few in-game minutes as possible
my
is
first
not
time through this
something.
took like 3-4 months.
Yeah, like
So
it
I only have
yeah.
30 minutes, 40 minutes to show stuff off. So I'm picking the most interesting stuff I can. So this segment here is we've gotten we've grown up a bunch of red Pikmin, we've grown up a bunch of whites, we've grown up a bunch of purple Pikmin. White Pikmin and purple Pikmin are really, really important. White Pikmin are super fast. Purple Pikmin are super strong.
Also want
And
to point out that it's day 71, but of course it according to the play timer, Pi has only been playing for 2 minutes.
yes. So in this segment, there's two main goals. I'm going to be getting the globe to unlock the third area, and I'm going to be getting 5 bitter berries, and those will be very important later on. So let's get it to it.
Yes. Pi is also showcasing this because this is one of the harder segments. So, getting everything done properly is, very tricky. So, in the low in game time, in general, compared to other maybe normal RTA speedrun exploits, the importance here is burst speed, right? Because you only have to be quick, but you have to be quick for the number of minutes. So whites carry treasures very fast. So part of the reason um, why you only really see purples and whites being used is that purples basically help carry things by virtue of carry speed. Nice, great knapsack. So and then whites carry things very quickly, which if you want to get things done is pretty important.
Right, so these
Where
purples are
pine,
really strong, so they're going to do a lot of damage to this plant, and then I'm going to be using whites to carry the berries back really quick.
yes, to get up here, normally you couldn't get up here, but similar but different to Pikmin 3, what Pi was able to do is basically abuse what is called the 5-man knapsack
I'm
in
a little
order.
worried about that. Why isn't the globe back?
Why isn't the globe back? Did it get caught on the bridge?
Maybe. We'll see. Nope, we're good. Sweet. I was
Nice.
just really fast with the berries, I guess. Yeah, globe's usually
Yeah.
first. So I have a couple like milestones I like to look at. So if I enter this cave by 155, I should be good. If I press A on this cave, and we are good.
Good. Yeah. So the reason why it's entering a cave is when you enter a cave, you can see the saving, right? It is that the cave is basically the fastest way to save.
Yes,
So
there are
ending
two
the
ways to save. You can end the day, or you can enter a cave, or go on to the next sublevel if you're in a cave.
right.
So we've been talking a lot about these caves. Most of Pikmin 2 happens in caves. So I think it would be good to show off some cave play. So I do have a couple examples of caves that I'm pretty practiced in. So normally in a payoff debt speed run, what you'd be doing in these caves is getting every treasure on the cave or only the most valuable treasures on the cave. In low IGT, we don't really have the time for that. So my goal here is just locate one treasure, grab it, and move on. And that
One
will
thing that I just want to point out in like comparison is like the very interesting thing about the segment that Pi just did is that getting the globe in less than a minute is just not possible. It just isn't. No, even if you are a tool assisted, speed run, it's just not possible to get the globe that fast.
yeah,
So
that's a really interesting thing about routing low IGT is because so getting the globe individually would take a minute, getting those bitter berries individually would take a minute, but getting them both together at the same time allows you to get both at the same time in 1 minute, saving a minute overall.
yeah, so there's definitely a lot of nuance in the caves because it's very quick to save. Pi's gonna be gunning for those 59 seconds. Um, so it's finding.
Ooh,
You can just
that's a quick
basically,
treasure.
yeah.
Yeah, so um, these sublevels are procedurally generated, so I do not know what these caves are going to look like before I go in.
Yeah, but if you can locate a treasure really quickly, you know, Pi has brought up an army in. So, you can basically run through everything, kill hazards, bypass enemies with speed. And for example, this floor, this treasure was acquired in 49 seconds, which means 0 minutes.
Another thing that's
And
worth noting is that if a segment is particularly hard, I don't care about Pikmin losses because you can grow more Pikmin in 0 time, so Pikmin are essentially an infinite resource. It's just
right,
it's just a matter of I'm gonna spend a lot of my real life time doing this, so is it worth it?
you would like to lose as little time as humanly possible. Sorry, as little Pikmin as humanly possible. But if you have to kill a Pikmin in order to get your in-game time down, then of
Then
course
it's fine for the most part.
it's
Yeah,
worth it. Yeah, it's
right.
worth it.
So coming up next is actually another overworld segment. This I think is one of the most interesting ones in the run. It's just because there's so much going on here. So there's going to be a buried treasure which needs to be dug up by whites and then carried across water by blues. Then I'm going to be taking my white Pikmin to go get 5 more bitter berries. Then I'm going to use the rest of my whites to dig up yet another treasure. So this first treasure, the onion replica, actually takes 2 minutes on its own, but I'm also going to be combining it with 2 other things that take a minute individually. So this routing here actually saves 2 minutes overall.
So for clarity, what is your goal time for this segment? Is
This
it
is going to be uh,
159 or
259.
250?
259.
259. All right, yes, yes.
This is like one of the longer segments.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe this is the longest segment in the run that is entirely gameplay.
Thought
Um,
so.
There are also some annoying things, like for example, like credits play after paying off the debt,
yeah,
and
we'll
that
get
of
to
course,
that. That
yeah.
segment's
So,
included in this as well.
oh really? There you
So
go.
I'm taking my whites and blues over here. I just need a couple to dig this up. They are not cooperating with that leaf, so we're going to try that again.
Yep.
That is the
Nope.
first time I've had them go and attack the leaf. Wow, that's actually never happened to me before.
Yeah. Yes. No. The
That
skitter
marathon
leaf.
one.
For whatever reason, the skitter leaf usually runs away faster, but he stayed around, and so that's why he was attracted. So yeah, so just like in a lot of other games in Pikmin 2, different colors can handle different hazards and tasks. So for example, only whites can dig up the buried treasures. And so that's why the management and the Pikmin resources needed are important, because you can't just take one color and collect everything you need to collect. Like, you need to actually manage all of these puzzles and hazards that are designed to get you to use different Pikmin.
Have we explained why Pi waits on the menu for a minute?
I have not explained load manipping yet. So there is something that's a little bit sneaky that is helping Pi achieve what he needs to achieve, and we call it load manip. I mean, the manip is not very complicated, but it turns out that if you wait at the title screen for about 10 seconds, um, it makes it speeds up the first load by a handful of seconds.
Right, and in this, in low IGT, there's only going to be the one load, so we need to do it every time.
Right.
Or we can if it's, you know, necessary. Oop, surprise long
BL
legs.
So BL so in ironically in low in-game time, you usually rack out a very high in-game day count, because of course you might do a segment end the day, do a segment end the day, etc., etc. And so because of this, um,
Yeah, the long legs shows up post day 30,
yeah,
which normally wouldn't be seen in most casual playthroughs, I think, but we do see him here.
in my first ever casual playthrough of Pikmin 2, it took me a lot of days. But yeah, but yes, at any rate, basically definitely in a speed run, you would never see BD long legs in Perplexing Pool.
Of
But
course.
but because of
Uh-oh.
but because we are
This is not good.
oh, are the berries?
Yeah, not all the Pikmin got on the plant, but we should still be fast enough, I think. White Pikmin are
Yeah,
fast.
you have yeah, the white Pikmin are fast. You have until 2:59.
Yeah. So this is a
You
2-minute segment. I have until 2:59 to get everything.
Yep.
There are still a lot of cutscenes left to play, but I think we should be good.
Yep. Nope. That's right. Worst case, we can just kind of show. We can just try it again, showcase it. I mean, we have time on the estimate. Um, but yeah, it's definitely. So then Pi is basically going to be ready at attention, um, at this cave. So that basically the moment that those two not grabbing on is going to be a little bit of a problem. We'll see.
Yeah, we're fine. We got it.
It's unfortunate, but
So
it's
this unlocks bitter sprays. And bitter sprays are super important. You want to talk a little bit about bitter sprays,
you
Cap?
get it. Yeah, so bitter sprays are really good because bitter sprays basically weaken enemies, make them more vulnerable, and also get rid of death animations. And so, because of that, it is the fastest way of killing an enemy, which is huge for several purposes. But for in-game time, especially, it matters because it really cuts a lot of those long animation death frames that you can't really afford.
Right. It does that as well as like you can just use it to petrify an enemy. Just someone's in your way, just freeze them and run past them. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, it
And
stalls them out.
so it takes a minute to get all these berries to unlock bitter sprays, but once you have them, you can grind up as many as you want in 0 minutes.
Yeah. Once you unlock, so there are several ways of getting sprays. The way the intended mechanic that you are required to use to unlock them is through these bitterberry plants. But there are other ways of getting sprays, and so we, being knowledgeable in the game, we can use them to farm. We can
Right.
farm those up.
And if you remember from Jay's run, he got spicy berries, right?
Yep.
As it turns out, when you unlock bitter sprays, you secretly unlock spicy sprays as well. It's a little
Right.
complicated as to why and how I'm able to get them, but I just know that even though they're not on my screen,
You have.
I do secretly still have them, and we'll be using spicy sprays just like Jay did on the Plasma Wraith fight. So now that we've got sprays, I also have, in the meantime, between this segment and the last segment, I've also unlocked this upgrade called the Rush Boots, which lets me run faster. So
Right.
all that combined, we're basically at our full power now. We can run fast. We have all these sprays at our disposal, as many as we want, and let's see how easily we can just destroy a cave with all this
Yeah.
power we have now. So, wow, that is what is this layout?
So sometimes you get something like this where the treasure's like, "Oh, hi, I'm right here." You see, and then with all of these, with all these sprays, you can just collect something very fast. So Pi had 59 seconds, but he's gonna clear this in 40.
I was
So
not expecting this to be that fast.
yeah, that layout is not normally that
that
fast
layout is not normally that good. Where are those layouts when I'm running? Come on, come on.
for real.
For
Right?
for real though.
All right. So there's at the bottom of every cave there's a boss fight, and I thought it would be fun to show off one of the boss fights. But there's actually also some multitasking going on in this boss fight as well. So this is the Bullblacks fight, if you're familiar with Pikmin 2. So we're gonna be fighting the Bullblacks, but there's also a treasure way in the back that we need to get, and that treasure in the back is actually the limiting factor.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to be focusing on getting that treasure in the back first, then fighting Bullblacks, because unlike Pikmin 1, Bullblacks actually goes down really, really quickly. in Pikmin 2.
The Emperor Bullbax is kind of hilarious in Pikmin 2. So there's something, for one reason or another, the Bullbax does not have armor. So a lot of enemies have armor on the wake up, which prevents them from basically instantly dying during their wake up animation. The Bullbax, for one reason or another, does not have this. So because of that, you can kill the Emperor Bullbax very, very, very quickly. This is just because, like, when you'll see exactly how it manifests, but basically because the animation.
Right, so there's another knapsack to get up to this treasure a little quicker.
Yeah.
A couple Pikmin are drowning, they don't matter.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Pie reuses the spicy spray, and you'll now see during this animation, right?
And he's already dead.
Yes, he's already dead. As funny as that is. So basically, so again, the reason why it was like that in the first place was because, the reason why he was like that in the first place was because during that entire animation where he's waking up, he was completely vulnerable.
Right, and you see I got the treasure from the Bulblax first, so the, that one in the back, how fast I get that one is really the only impact of how fast this segment ends up being. And this is actually going to be real close.
Yep, this was close.
I think we're good, though. That should be good.
Yep. There is 159, and like it's close, but this low in game time as a challenge is a game of thresholding. So as long as you basically have that 159, it doesn't matter how close it is.
Yeah, some segments are
Very
actually really, really easy. Like you could lose 30 seconds and still be fine. And then you've got other segments which are nearly impossible, and you really need to save every single frame you possibly can. So the last sub-level I want to show off is Submerged Castle 2. Now this sub-level is the one place in the run where I thought I would be able to save time, but wasn't able to actually pull it off in my full playthrough. It's theoretically possible to do this segment in 1 minute, but no human has ever actually finished that in 1 minute. It's only been tasked.
Yeah, there are some interesting scenarios that are theoretically possible, but are either so difficult or so unlikely that they need to be tasked in order to be properly realized.
Right. So this sub-level, the layout is pretty much set every time. There are slight differences in enemy positions and where the ship spawns, but for the most part, this sub-level is going to look the same every time. So I know what I'm looking for. And we're actually going to be collecting 2 treasures here because no one treasure is possible to get in 1 minute, so we might as well get, or in 0, so we might as well get,
so 2 treasures in 1 minute, yeah.
we might as well get 2 treasures in 2 minutes.
Or, yes.
So we're going this way first. This is usually the heavier treasure and it's farther away, so this is why we go here first.
Yeah.
I'm re-popping my spicy here.
Did we get lucky, or is it the donut? No,
This is
yeah,
good.
no, it's the heavier one. Yeah, bummer.
No, that's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
we almost... Are we gonna get all 3 treasures? They just accidentally killed the...
Nice.
We'll see. If we're... Oh.
That guy's... causing some issues, but he should be fine.
Oh yeah, no, this is.
Oh,
not,
I need to. Shit. Okay. We're fine. We're good. Sweet. So I don't have another spicy. Okay. I was trying to do a trick called charging.
Oh, but this.
But I don't have another spicy.
Oh no! I hope that happens. So I can still chat about it. So, but basically, the idea behind is that there's a really interesting mechanic where if there are leaves that are spicy, they carry at flower speed. But if the spicy runs out in the middle of carrying, the carry speed doesn't change. But if you then whistle the leaves off, there's some excess speed that remains, that basically remains like in the treasure. So you can actually do this perpetually, and you can gain speed infinitely.
Right, and the task that collects both of these two treasures in 159 really abuses charging to the fullest.
Yeah. But unfortunately, without the spicy, the Pikmin are neutered in speed, so your options have become
we should be 10 seconds. I don't know if they can make it in time.
Yeah, it's gonna be too brutal, unfortunately.
That third treasure is really putting me back, setting me
Yeah,
back here. So if I didn't get that third treasure, I would have been fine. Do we want to show this again, or do we want to just say?
Well, if you don't have enough spices, it's gonna be hard.
Huh?
I mean, okay. Well, as long as you don't go over the charging strat, you'll be able to get it. Because the reason why it was brutal was because the leaves were carrying it at leaf speed. So I think as long as you don't go for the charging strat, you should be fine.
Yeah, it did charge it once because I did put him on as spicied.
Yeah.
So let's give that one more try.
You can see how close these segments can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting bad luck on the ship position. If the ship was lower on the... Like, the ship could spawn, like, right here, and that would be faster.
This is actually better luck, though, than last layout, because last layout, the farther treasure had to go more distance.
Oh, that's true.
The shorter one actually has to go less distance, so this is actually more favorable. It's still
That's a good point.
favorable. Yeah, it's less favorable than you want. Like your pie is correct. Like you want it in the like basically not on that lip at all, but it actually is significant. So the difference between it being in the second worst spot and the worst spot.
Oh, and we got the donut down there.
Yeah, and it's a donut, so this is good. Yep. Sometimes they just don't want to get up there. Making sure you have. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, you just gotta. You just run up against it, and well, those aren't gonna be knocking on it.
I know.
So
but I gotta.
You gotta defend the homies. Yeah.
Get to see some bitter spray action.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like the power of bitter sprays, because like if those are annoying, the answer is just to walk it out. And you see, like this is not too bad. Oh god. Oh gosh.
It might be bad. Okay.
Chaos. Yeah, that's. Is there one more spicy that you can pop?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Ah, Lord. Tragedy has struck that Dirigibug.
I think we're fine, though.
Might be fine, yeah. As long as you can, if there's a spicy, you should be good. Yeah, all right. That should be tenable, or just barely. As you can see in this game, tragedy can strike at a moment's notice.
Yeah, this game is kind of brutal.
This game can be very brutal for sure. But I think that
Okay, that's exactly fast enough. That should be a 259. Yeah, and
yep.
like I was saying, I keep these checkpoints of like, I need to enter a cave by 255. Okay, I stopped the timer late. I swear that's fast enough.
Yeah, the in game time would be the ruler, but it would be very close. But yeah, no, it just goes to show kind of what we were talking about earlier, though, where like everything is on a hair's breadth, and like the propensity of things going wrong is very high for sure.
Yeah, so like I literally stopped my timer slow, but that was a 259, and we can see because my timer says 8 and not 9.
Yep, there you go. Exactly.
Fairly good math.
So it probably was a 259 by frames, but you know sometimes we live in a universe where frames are what make the difference.
Exactly. So we're getting close to the end of the showcase. I do have 2 more segments I want to show off. Now, like I was saying, that overworld routing is really important in like you want to combine as many things as you can into the same segments, because that lets you like you do 3 things in 2 minutes as opposed to taking 3 minutes doing them all individually. So this segment here is actually, I'm going to be paying off the debt, and there is a 4-minute long ending cutscene along with paying off the debt. And normally, if you just play that cutscene right away, you'd get like, I don't know the exact time, I think it's like 4:05. So you actually have a ton of time to play around with, so it is actually possible to get a treasure that would normally take over a minute, but then combine it with the payoff debt. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So one thing about overworld treasures is most of the time you can move them a little bit, enter a cave, come back, and then they'll be moved. The exception to that is if they're buried or if they come from an enemy. Now this treasure here is buried and it takes a while to get up to it. So this actually takes a minute to collect. But if this snagret didn't... that might be too slow now. Oh, everything is going wrong.
Yeah, no, it happens. Sometimes the snagret can be annoying and shake.
Yeah, I needed to collect by 53. No, that's too slow.
Alright. And we go again.
Usually the
That was a
snagger
very
isn't
tight
even
segment.
on the where you can walk. He's normally up on that higher ledge, so it's not even an issue. I didn't even think about it being an issue. I could have just
Yeah,
bittered.
no. Yeah, there's a radius in which the snagret can appear. So where the snagret appears is not completely consistent, and so it's something that you have to react to. And sometimes it could be certainly in an unfavorable spot.
Yep, and that's unfortunately how it is. Sometimes with these challenge runs, you don't do the thing on your first try, and you just got to try again.
The nice thing with the challenge run is you don't have to do the thing on your. I mean, is that nominally you don't have to do the thing on your first try.
Right. And yeah, that's one thing that I really like about challenge runs versus speed runs. Like if that happened in a full game speed run, I would have to start the whole thing over. But here,
Yeah.
we're already right back to where I was, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why pie is spicing at the last minute is Pikmin run speeds are kind of bizarre. So all spicy Pikmin run at the exact same speed, which is nominally very fast. It's the second fastest run speed of the game. but for one reason or another, white Pikmin run even faster than spicy white Pikmin, and so it's kind of bizarre, but it
Yeah, it
actually
works out that,
lowers spicy early, even though otherwise there would be no problems.
and the reason I'm popping the spicy is so that they dig up the treasure quicker.
Yeah.
All
And
right,
now
so
having started earlier, we're now in a more favorable spot.
so this treasure puts us over 10,000 Pokos, and we've paid off the entire debt. And
Ta-da!
here's normally where the RTA runs would end for payoff debt, but as it turns out, the IGT actually still runs throughout this whole thing until you save after the credits. So I figured now.
Really, because low in game time, usually the metric that matters is the all treasures in game time. Because payoff debt in game time is also somewhat interesting, but also slightly different. So like the payoff debt in game time ends at the fade to black right when that cutscene plays. But
Yeah, it's really weird and complicated.
yeah, there's a lot more complications for sure.
But yeah, since we have a few minutes of downtime, I thought now would be a good chance to real quick do some shout outs. So yeah, if you guys like what you saw, if you are interested in Pikmin speedrunning, you should come join the Pikmin speedrunning Discord. If you're interested in just watching runs, or if you're
Really,
interested in
Pikmin of all
trying it out for
time.
yourself.
I mean, I think a big thing is I think a big thing is that there's many different ways of playing Pikmin 2, because like this is like a low in game time showcase, which is very different from RTA speedruns, which is obviously very different from. And then Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3 are all very different speed games with a lot to offer. Because like as you saw there, like Pikmin 2 is very different from Pikmin 3 in terms of gameplay, mechanics, many things. And so like there's a lot of stuff that this game series has to offer, even beyond like conventional speedrunning. So if you think that Pikmin are cute and you think you want to move them around and have them be cool, you know, I think there's a lot that this community can offer you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I want to give a huge shout out to HSS0136, who is the initial low in-game time runner. He's done a ton of cool challenger runs over the years. He laid the foundation for this low IGT run. I would not be able to do this nearly as fast if he hadn't basically done all the routing himself. Also, Grassdigger helped out a tremendous by doing tasks of a couple segments in low IGT, and I was able to use some of those and actually be the first human to do some of those segments. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's very cool.
quick little brag. My low IGT run that I finished a few months ago is actually the current world record at 20 minutes.
Yeah. So no, yeah. So Pi is obviously, he's kind of like created. He has improved upon the Shoulders of Giants and currently holds the low in game time world record. And so if you wanna come box the low in game time world record holder, definitely join the Pikmin Speedrunning Discord and chat with us, and we're pretty friendly. So yeah, no, it's great. In any case, I think that's you can kind of see the yeah.
Yeah, as you can see,
There's
my
there's a
payoff
very
debt low IGT record was actually 1 minute because, as you see,
that
I
is a
did do
low
a
time.
lot of taking minutes to do stuff in this showcase, but you don't have to. There's nothing that you have to do in low IGT. Like if it's too hard or it's literally impossible, just don't do it. Get something else. So doing that, you can actually get payoff debt in 1 minute.
Yeah.
So I do have one more segment I want to show off, and that is the post payoff debt. So the payoff debt credits is actually the longest segment in the run, just because the credits take so long. But there is actually a post payoff debt cutscene as well that we have to deal with, and it just so happens that it's in that awkward time where it takes a minute, but there's a ton of buffer room, so we can actually get another treasure that would normally take a minute along with this.
Yes.
So we are actually going to go right back to Valley of Repose and get another buried treasure that's like right next to the one we got. It's really funny that that's the way the route works out, but that's the best way to do it.
Yep. So we're just gonna see, and it basically is gonna be the same, the same ideal situation. So
Yeah, so because we're starting a new day, right? We have to do that whole map screen landing. We have to actually take out our Pikmin manually here. So ideally, most of the time you'd want as many Pikmin as possible, but because you only have so much time, you don't want to wait for 100 Pikmin to come out if 34 can do the job. So yeah, I just go somewhere around 30. And just like before, let these spicy Pikmin carry it. And
waiting by the hole, yeah. So he's gonna enter that in order to showcase it.
Olimar's waiting by the hole, and once the treasure comes in, as long as it's before 144, we are plenty good.
Yeah, perfect. And so yeah, that's just another way of grabbing the extra treasure during this time.
I don't have Pikmin with me. I'm an idiot.
Ah,
Well,
it would have worked.
you get the idea.
You usually need one Pikmin with you in order to get it to work.
Right.
That's just a game mechanic.
So we'll pretend I got that. Yeah, I think that's
I think that's probably good for the showcase. Yeah.
I think that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having us for the ellThon. Appreciate it.
It's been
Fun.
fun.